Will do.
All
Look
right.
forward to it.
You can make the coffee for me now.
All right.
I got to go to another man that's holding on the line for quite a while as well. One of my great friends, and well, you know, strange that Trish was talking about Elvis Presley and the good-looking fella. But this guy that I'm going to talk to right now he reckons he's as good looking as Elvis Presley ever was, and he could sing better. Greg Traynor, good evening to you, Greg.
Good evening to the great Mr. Frank Kilbride. I haven't been talking in a good while.
Haven't?
I hope you're keeping well yourself and all your wonderful listeners.
Well,
to Radio Mostrim.
Yeah, thank you so much, Greg. The first thing, one of the first times I come across, I know you're an excellent musician and singer or whatever. I suppose the John Hogan band, would that be fair to say to you, where you actually came? I know Hogan came to light as well,
yeah.
but you actually came as big as Hogan, if you know what I mean, in your own way as a bass player with the band.
I don't know about that, Frank, but I suppose
you mightn't have made as much money as John Hogan, but however, take us from there.
I made more noise, I suppose, but before that, yeah, I was with John from the very, very start, from Easter Sunday night in 1988, and that's when it all started. And John Hogan, Jerry Walsh, the Lord of mercy, as you well knew him, Jerry Walsh from the great Mighty Avens show band.
We love Jerry, God rest him.
Oh God, wasn't Jerry a gentleman? And to all your listeners there that might remember the great Jerry, Jerry came to me. I was doing a gig with my own little band in the Harriers in Tullamore, and he says, we're putting a band behind this fella called John Hogan. He says, you might have heard of him. If you didn't, he says, listen to the Irish charts tomorrow, and he'll be in the top 10.
Right.
And I listened to it the following day on a Monday, and here was John Hogan with Brown Eyes at number 5 in the Irish charts, and he didn't even have a band at the time.
Right, okay. But that's what Dermot Hegarty said earlier on his interview with me. The managers were a very important piece of the band in many aspects, and Jerry Welch certainly, as regards launching people, and Brian Finlay, the late Brian as well. Yes. He's no longer with us. Launching people like John Hogan, and then comes along the great Greg Traynor. I mean, you were a young fella. You're still a young fella.
I was a young fella that time,
but you're still young.
I had lovely black hair, but I still had that.
but I know you had your little group and all of that, and that's where it all starts. And then you were one of the great John Hogan band at the time. But then take us a little bit from the finish of Greg Traynor with the John Hogan band, and then you move on into another scenario as regards your own music.
Did Frank? Yeah, I was with John for 13 and a half years, from around April or March or April 1988 until 2000. And then we had a great band with Charlie Arkins. I had Charlie on last week.
Yes.
Marvellous musician. Johnny Dorn was on drums. And we had Declan Ainger for a long time. And Desi Egan was with us on piano. We also had the great Hodgie Cunningham playing guitar. Paul Sheeran was with us. Jenny, who was? There's a lot of musicians went through the John Hogan band, but we had great years, and John was very, very successful for a lot of years, and still is.
And the late Chuck Owens, he actually done a stint with John
for a long time,
for a good while as well.
He was indeed. Chuck was with us for a long time. Yeah, he was.
To move it on to today of 2021,
all right, yeah.
Craig, you stayed involved with music. You stayed involved. You done your gigs, and you know one of the great things that I'll always remember about you. I turned on the telly one day and I seen an ad on was it RTE or BBC or something, and I said. Surely to God, I said, that's not Greg Traynor. And I think I said to Patricia, I think that's great. She said, what are you talking about? She said, no. She said, that's the young Elvis. Tell us a bit of how you got that gig.
That was another thing I was involved in all those years. I did a good bit of sort of acting the Egypt as well, but I did a lot of acting in my time, Frank, with different commercials and stuff. And I was in quite a lot of commercials, from telecom commercials down to, the last one I was in was playing football on that milk ad on Avonmore.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always
There's
done
a plug for Avonmore.
But in 2000, I've been doing a bit of that down through the years, a bit of acting and commercials and stuff, and I still do. In fact, this year or last year in 2020, when this lockdown came, I did another bit of an acting course there at Dublin City Acting School for 8 weeks to keep myself going a little bit, keep my head sort of half right.
Mm-hmm.
But when I finished with John in 2000, I moved on. I played for a year and a half then with Keith and Lorraine and the Showband Show.
Yes.
And a fabulous band and two wonderful musicians, Keith and Lorraine, and the lads in the band as well. But I spent about a year and a half with the lads, and some other commercial came up with something with an Elvis thing got to do it, and every time I went for an audition for an Elvis commercial, I seemed to get it. And there was some other yoke running on the television I was in it and the commercial and doing a sort of an Elvis thing, and I said, Jesus, all this Elvis crack, sure, maybe I'll chance doing a couple of songs.
Right.
And I got a few backing tracks, Elvis backing tracks, and I was talking to the great Frankie MacDonald, the trumpet player with Joe Dolan for 38 years.
A lovely man.
You know what? Frankie had an Elvis suit. And all you good listeners of Frankie Kilbride out there that knows Frankie MacDonald will know the size of Frankie MacDonald compared to the size of Craig Traynor. I'm slightly bigger. But be Jesus, what he called him, Frankie gave me a loan of his Elvis suit, and I got it sort of sprayed onto me to do these few songs. And they went down a bomb, and I said, God, maybe there's something in this. And I started doing a little bit longer, a gig and I got a suit made then. And from that, Frank, she kicked off in 2000. I'm actually 20 years doing the Elvis thing at the end of this month.
Right.
20 years at it, singing the songs. All around. I've been all around the world, Frank. Thanks be to God, I've been travelling a lot of the world doing Elvis shows. But it's been very, very good to me.
But Greg, the obvious question that most people will ask Greg Traynor, as I asked Dermot Hegarty, or a couple of weeks ago I had Donny Cassidy on, I had Mick Clerkin on, I had Mick Flavin on, I had all of those, and we're almost into 12 months of a lockdown, and we can talk at length about that, but we're not interested. We're interested in musicians like yourself, performers, acting, fellas that would go up on the stage or go into the backstage theatre in Longford and put on shows and whatever. All of those are dead at the moment. But how does, we say, the like of Greg Traynor, try to get his head around, I have no gigs for the last 12 months. I have where do you see the future in this? I know we all have to try to be positive, but in Greg Traynor's eyes, what are we to look forward to?
Well, Frank, I'd be telling you a lie if I told you that it's been very, very hard the last year to keep the old head steady and see some sort of light at the end of the tunnel. And I've spent a bit of time writing bits and pieces of songs, and over the last few years I wrote a musical called One Sweet Hour, and we had it out and around the country a bit as well. And it's all about an Elvis impersonator. And then I wrote another play called Are You Going for a Pint? Which is sort of a comedy.
I think
but unfortunately we can't. There's no point in bringing that because you can't go for a pint.
Not for the moment anyway.
And the play was received fairly well. There was a bit of music in it as well, and it was about a bunch of lads going for a pint, met up in the middle of the street, and they did a bit of a pub crawl. But that's another sort of thing. But I'm doing a sort of an extension of that now, and I have another sort of play half written called Are You Going for a Pint Long Distance?
Right.
And the next play is about a bunch of lads getting into a bus and heading on a weekend down to the Achill Island.
Right.
But they get up to all sorts of mischief. But there's a couple of singers on the bus, of course, as well, and there's a couple of songs. I'm writing a couple of songs as well. But that's what I've been sort of pushing in the time at, Frank. But there's no doubt it has been very, very hard. And to see that little light at the end of the tunnel, I suppose, is get that vaccine out there as quick as you can and get the world back to some sort of normality. But no matter whether the vaccine's working 50% or 70% or 90%, get it out and get it into the people and get this terrible thing over with.
People like yourself, Greg Traynor, will call you in the music industry, whatever way you want to be described. You were the first to fall. And you're going to be, when all this rolls out, and thank God, are with the vaccine you just mentioned, and when it comes to something, and in my opinion, it'll be certainly towards the end of this year of 21. But at the end of the day, musicians like yourself, entertainers like yourself, will be the people that'll be last to the post, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. There is no doubt that we will be the last to get back into full employment again, Frank. But like myself and all other musicians out there, we're biting at the bit to get back at it. And I think likewise that the people that go to dances and go to gigs, they're biting to get out again. They're dying to get out again. And I think when we do get back out doing gigs, that the people will come out and support us. And I hope they will. But I think they are gagging to get out for entertainment again and gagging to get out to the dances and to the gigs and to the concerts. But hopefully, halfway through this year, it'll come back a little bit anyway, hopefully.
Absolutely. And the other thing I was thinking about, I was watching European news this morning, and one of the things, and I don't know whether you agree with me on this, is when all those lockdowns are lifted and all of this seems to be going okay and we're heading in the right direction, whatever it might be, wear enough masks. Say you're doing a concert in the court in Tullamore, and that's 300, 400, 500 people go in there. Is my opinion is that they should wear their mask in. They should sit down at their table, in their seats. They're after paying the money, and the one thing they should have in their breast pocket or on their face for the minute is their mask. Because honestly, going forward, I honestly believe that when we're all in large crowds, whether it's at a football match or at a concert or something that Greg Traynor is happening, and there's a load of people there, I don't think there's any problem about wearing our mask, because not alone to protect us from the COVID, and no matter what way we get protected, we have to still watch ourselves when the cure does come. But at least it'll stop us from when a fella blows his nose or whatever, and at least if you have your mask on, you're not picking up a flu from that guy or girl or whatever. Do you think that the mask should be kept going even when all of this is over?
Oh, most definitely, Frank. I think we will just get into a habit of it. Anyway, I think everybody just will get into a habit of, like, you wouldn't go outside the door now without having your phone in your pocket or having something like that. It'll go like that you won't go outside the door without having your mask in your pocket as well. Sure, it's no harm to anybody, but it's not a big chore to just stick on an old mask on you if you're going into where there's a few people gathered, you know.
Correct.
I think it will become a habit that everybody will get used to. And it'll go on not just for 2021, but I think it'll go on for a couple of years, that people that has completely gone.
That's exactly what I'm saying to you, and all I was looking for was your opinion on it. Come here, Greg, before we let you go, you live in County Offaly, isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right. In Edenderry.
Edenderry and County Offaly, and I managed one of the great singers from up there at one stage in my life, Jane McNamee.
What a great singer, Jane, a great friend of mine. Yeah.
What a wonderful artist.
Wonderful singer.
And you know, apart from singers in County Offaly, you always had great footballers and hurlers up there as well. And I know that when you won the All-Ireland football final, I can't remember, one of my great friends.
I was talking to him an hour ago. Seamus Darby.
Yes. Okay. Well, and you know, I had the pleasure of playing along with Seamus Darby years ago with the Jimmy McGee All-Stars.
I was there in the same match, Frank.
You know, it's jumping into my head.
I remember. Can I tell your listeners about that match?
Yeah, tell us.
I can tell you exactly where it was if it's the same one you were thinking about. It was down in Bancha.
That's right.
In Tipperary, and you were playing. Wait till I tell your listeners this now, Frank. I
didn't mean to bring up this now.
I played a few minutes with the McGee All-Stars, and Darby was there as well. So I know Darby, I grew up beside him.
Of course you did.
I know him for years. And Darby was playing that day, and John Hogan was playing that day, and you were playing full back. And you were, and the opposite team from Bancha, you were playing on the local bishop. And I think the bishop gave you a little bit of a dig. He took it a bit serious. I think you gave him a bit of a dig back, Frankie.
I wouldn't have done a thing like that, would I? You know.
The Jimmy McGee All-Stars were supposed to be friendly games. Friendly
games, and the war, and because I remember that night in the community hall in Bancha that night, there was something like 3,000 people, and there was another 3,000 people out on the streets in the beautiful village of Bancha, which takes me back to
Seamus Darby came. Myself and Seamus Darby drove down to that match together. But that same night, not talking about drinking pints or anything, but I always liked another pint. But myself and your man from the Curragh, the fitness fanatic, Jerry Loftus.
Yes.
He definitely drank 8 or 9 pints of Guinness with myself and somebody else there in the hall. And next thing, McGee called him up to do a few press-ups. And he still got up on the stage and did about 40 press-ups in 30 seconds. I said, I hope his stomach doesn't start heaving there on that stage, or it'll be trouble. But he didn't. And he was reckoned to be one of the fittest men in the world, Jerry Loftus from the Curragh.
Greg, what I said to Dermot Hegarty when I was finishing up, what about people that want to get your records or your DVDs or get in touch, basically? Which keep it simple now for them, because my people are a bit like myself out there, no matter where they are in the world. We're bogmen in our own ways, but like, well, indeed,
I'm a bogman myself.
I know you are. And certainly after playing with John Hogan for 20 years or whatever you played, another great bogman.
Yeah,
Born
right.
Namona.
Yeah, but I have a new song out now, which I wrote that's sort of apt for the year that was in it, 2020. Right. It's called the year of the Mask, and my good friend John Kelly and Margaret and all the gang that just be in the Hazel Hotel in Mostrim, and John Kelly, who is Hazel Records still, John has produced the whole thing for me, and John has it up, I believe now. If you wanted to get the new release called The Year of the Mask 2020, you can get it on Spotify and on iTunes.
Yeah.
For €1 or so. You can download it and you can have it there on your phone or have it on whatever you like on Spotify. It's also there. You can have a look at it. We did a little video, have a bit of crack with it. It's on YouTube as well. It's called The Year of the Mask 2020. I'd like to say a big John Kelly and all the gang over in Mostrim are listening in to you there, Frank. Well, you probably know him from years ago.
Well, I know John Kelly and his father and his mother and all belonging to him, as they would say. That's what Larry said to somebody when Larry Cunningham was in New York one time, and they were doing a big concert. I think Jerry Welsh was playing with him. But anyway, the next thing, when the show was over, this girl, they were out in the street, and this girl come up and said, "Oh, Larry, how are you doing? And I'm the biggest fan, and I'm from County Leitrim or wherever." And she said, "Don't you know my name?" And Larry turned around and she said, Jatla, I know your name and I know everyone belonging to you. And then they walked 5 yards up the street and Larry nudged Welsh, and he said, "Boss," he said, "who in the F is she?" so in other words,
I know, yeah.
Larry was a great spoofer, but
he was. I did a tour with him one time in America, Frank. I did a tour with him with the John Hogan band. We backed him in America.
Absolutely.
And Larry also stood in with us for about a good few nights when John's voice went and he had trouble with the vocals.
Well, all I can say to you, and you know, you
could do a full show. You could do a full show there, Frankie.
We could drop names forever, but when you mentioned John Kelly and his mum and his dad or whatever, the amount of help that the Hazel Hotel in Mostrim, like my own place at the time, the Park House in Edgertown. I mean, the amount of bands that played there, the amount of stars, the amount of videos that was made there, the amount, and they were all good ones.
Oh, not just because I'm talking to you there, Frank Kilbride, but I'm telling you, the Park House in Edgeworthstown and the Hazel and Mostrim were the two stalwart places in the whole of Ireland for giving people in bands work. Every week you got lads up on them stages, and it was, you'd always look forward to playing in the Park House in Edgeworthstown. You'd always look forward to playing the Hazel and Mostrim as well. They were always great nights because you were welcomed. Musicians were welcomed.
But
and we could talk about other venues around the country, and the musicians, they wouldn't give a shite if you never turned up. There's no point in telling a lie about it. Greg, but the Park House, Edgeworthstown and Hazel were two great places to play.
The one thing that apart from your ability to perform on stage and play music, and no matter how good or whatever, you had a personality which was always second to none. No, you had, and you still have it, obviously. And our listeners out there, you can, the song, what's the song again? The Year of the Mask.
The Year of the Mask. Yeah, no. The Year of the Mask. Yeah.
So our people can. I know there's no record stores open at the moment, but you can you can download that Year of the Mask, and we're going to let you go, and we're going to wish you a happy and peaceful and a healthy 2021, and all your family and all your friends and all your fans out there. We wish you well. We'll keep playing your music right here on Radio Mostrim, coming to you from the heart of Ireland. Greg Traynor, thanks so much.
Thank you, Frank, for having me on, and Happy New Year to all your listeners on Radio Mostrim, and it's great. It's great to hear you on the radio, and to Desi and to your good wife Trish there and all the gang. Happy New Year, everybody. I hope we're not going to have too many more years of the Mask, but anyway, if you'd like to download my song from Spotify or iTunes, it's called The Year of the Mask. Thanks, Frank.
The Year of the Mask. 2020 will be known as the Year of the Mask. I spent 12 months all alone, the Year of the Mask. We never will forget the Year of the Mask. On our memories it is set. Ah, how are you, Johnny? Or is it Joe? Sure, with that yoke wrapped around your gob, it's very hard to know. Now, how are you keeping? Are you doing all right? I'm just down for a bottle of milk and bread and porter for tonight. The Year of the Mask. 2020 will be known as the Year of the Mask. I spent 12 months all alone, the Year of the Mask. Oh, we never will forget the Year of the Mask. On our memories it is set. COVID-19, coronavirus. Now they say it came from China, just to brown us and annoy us. Do you watch the old telly? Oh God, it's very hard. The only ones making money out of this old crack are the TDs and the guards. The Year of the Mask. 2020 will be known as the Year of the Mask. I spent 9 months all alone, the Year of the Mask. In our memories it is set, the Year of the Mask. We never will forget. I see the local tavern, it opened up for a couple of days. You can't sit at the bar when you're having the jar, or the grub keep the virus away. They're the rules now, it's what you got to do. I'd rather die with a drought, with a taste in me mouth, or suffocate on me own home brew. The Year of the Mask. 2020 will be known as the Year of the Mask. I spent 12 months all alone, the Year of the Mask. We never will forget the Year of the Mask. In our memories it is sad. Quarantine, lockdown, stay at home, the Year of the Mask.
Yeah.